Black's plan is to really only just keep their material advantage and just defend. Already, that is a success in my book. This game shows why you should sacrifice a pawn for an easy attack. This is round 2 of the Ceske Budejovice Open B section, I guess I should call it. And it's game in 90 with a 30-second increment per move, and there's also a second time control as well. So pretty long classical tournament, and this is FIDE rated only, so that 1785 is my FIDE rating. So with that being said, let's hop right in here. So I play e4, and my opponent plays e5. This is also a no engine recap, so yeah, I won't be using any engine until the very, very end of this video. So he plays e5. And we both bring our knights out, but he brings his F knight out, and this makes it a Petrov. And I don't like facing it because one of the people that I play a lot against, Austin, back in Shippensburg, he plays the Petrov, and I usually don't get great positions against him. And basically, black just tries to keep symmetry. They allow white to take on e5, but they kick white out and then take on e4. So now the pawn structures are completely symmetrical, no pawn on the e-file for either side, and it can be a very dry game depending on how white plays it. Like white could just play d4, bring the bishop out, but then black will do the same thing, and it can be really frustrating if I'm trying to win. So I like to play a more aggressive approach, which is play knight c3, allowing black to double my pawns. But the idea is that I'm going to castle queenside, like this. Black does not have to commit to castling kingside. They could go knight d7, knight d6. They can bring their bishop out and then knight out and try to castle queenside, or they could delay castling in general. There's definitely a lot of different approaches black can have. But in this case, my opponent decides to castle early, and I decide to castle on the queen side, and this is the exact game I want to have. You know, I won in my first game in like 13 moves. In this game, I really want to just throw the kitchen sink and play very, very aggressively. One, because I like to play aggressively, but two, I do feel like it is the easiest way to win as well. Because a lot of times people below 2,000 are not great at defending. And we kind of see this in a way in this game. So my opponent plays bishop d4. He does not have to do that. He could play a move like knight e5, hoping that I would take, and after black takes, there's this open d-file, and it's a pretty balanced game. Bishop e6, f6, or f5. I've had games like this before. He could also just go bishop e6, and if I played a move like bishop d3, that would not be great because of like knight e5. And he could try to win the bishop pair in this way. But here, my plan is pretty simple. I want to start a kingside attack. So I could go h4, h5, you know, bishop e2, put 2 rooks here, and just throw my pawns at the king. And my double pawns actually do a good job of restricting the black knight's movements forward, but also it's just an extra pawn shield, an extra shield for my king. So I actually really like white's chances in this opening. But he plays bishop g4, which is already a bit unusual move. And here I actually thought for a while on the move h4. I think for about 11 minutes here. I was kind of blitzing out all my moves, and I had 92 minutes. But after this move, I had 81 minutes. So I thought for a while here. And the reason why I was thinking for so long was because I am allowing black to double my pawns, and I'm allowing black to take on h4. If black takes on h4 immediately, you know, what am I going to do? What's my plan? Looking at it from a big picture view, I have the open G files and the open H files, so I just straight up think I'm winning, or at the very least, much better. Much better here. Because of the fact, like, what is black's plan? Like, how is black going to improve their position? Maybe put this rook on the open file. You know, maybe, like, I don't believe in them launching their pawns. They're not quick enough. I'm quicker to attack them than they are me because I have these open lines. So black's plan is to really only just keep their material advantage and just defend. Already, that is a success in my book. Like, I'm only down for the cost of one pawn. I'm attacking for the rest of the game, and they are defending for the rest of the game. This is the best case scenario already, and it's only move 10. So he doubles my pawns, and he actually decides to go knight e5 first. So I also had to make sure. So one thing I had to evaluate was, what if he doesn't take my h4 pawn? That could definitely happen. So I thought he might go knight f3 after bishop e2. Maybe he can go bishop f6. Maybe he'll go like c5. I don't know. I wasn't sure. But I decided if he played with bishop move at bishop f6, there are no threats. I can just put my rook on g1. I can double up maybe. I can play f4, f5, and then f4 again. Like, I have different options, and I don't really have to worry too much. One thing you could consider after bishop e2 is like f5. So he could be and try to put the bishop behind the pawn. And f5 also stops me from pushing a pawn to f5 in the future. So I think this is a setup that he could try to use. I still have the open g file, but maybe this was a better way to approach it. Also with a pawn on f5, that means if he moved the bishop to f6 and his queen to d7, he can try to guard g6 very well. So I think this is a setup that he had to choose to try to defend better. But instead, he just took the pawn on h4, giving me very easy play. He took that pawn, and now the attack plays itself. I don't have to think. I just play good moves, and that's because I sacrificed a pawn. And that's the easiest way to beat people between 1600 to 1800 is just to sacrifice a pawn. Give up a pawn for an attack. Easiest way to win 100% of the time. So I play rook h3. Alternatively, I was thinking about rook g1 and rook dg1, and I thought they were both good. I couldn't decide. One reason why I liked rook h3 was because I kind of liked the idea of doubling here. And there are a lot of things black can't do. Like, for example, one thing black can't do. So let's say black sees that I'm going to double, and they want to keep their h-pawn defended. So they're going to play h6 to meet rook here with bishop f6. I actually can't sacrifice the bishop because after pawn takes and queen takes is bishop g5 check, winning the queen. So I actually can't do that. But if you play bishop f6, I can play king b1, and what next? There's not really much more to do for black. I'm just going to sacrifice next. If they try to play bishop g5, well, I can take, and after we trade, it's checkmate on h8. So there's really not much black can do, and I like the threat of the two rooks here. If I played rook dg1, I think it was also not bad at all. I don't think that's bad at all. I'm not even sure what black should play. It's really hard to find moves. f5 is definitely a consideration. Once again, to try to defend horizontally and with putting bishop back to f6. Excuse me. I'm cutting that out. So I think f5 once again is good. And that would be, I'll have to figure out how to attack then. Like, for example, what do I play? If I play a move, I could consider a move like bishop g5 here, forcing a trade and taking with the rook. I'm still not 100% convinced about this attack. Maybe, well, at the very least, I get my pawn back and I maintain pressure on the king side. And I don't believe in his counterattack on my king if I do take the pawn on b7. So at the very least, I get my pawn back, and I still maintain an attack on the king side. So I'm not 100% sure what I would do, but I do think f5 once again is the most trying attempt, most trying defense for black. I could be wrong, but I play rook h3, and I double up here. Rook e8 is just a mistake. Once again, f5. Once again, I think the most trying attempt here. If I play rook dh1, he could play knight g6 to try to defend his bishop. But then I could probably play f4 and play for bishop h5. So if he plays h6 to try to defend against the rook coming in, then I could play bishop h5 here, and this actually looks good enough to me. Yeah, I'm going to be winning by force. So I guess f5 also doesn't work. Thinking about it out loud, it's been a couple days since I played this game, so I guess f5 doesn't work here. So I think black is just straight up losing at this point, no matter what they do. I think they probably just have to play a proactive move like bishop f6 to stay alive longer. But he plays bishop f6 now after playing rook e8, and I just take the pawn on h7. So I have regained material equality, but the black king is still in the center. I do have these double pawns and these double pawns, but that's not relevant. What's relevant is my piece activity in this position. I'm absolutely crushing here. He plays king f8 to avoid the immediate checkmate threat. I thought he might go g6 here. I thought that was his idea. If he did go g6, I could consider f4, kicking the knight. Let's say the knight goes back to c6. I could consider a move like bishop d3 here to prepare to sacrifice. I could also think about queen d5 to attack f7, and after he defends, maybe now play f5. That looks pretty convincing to me. Although he plays g5, bishop h5. Although he could take here, but maybe that's okay. It gets a little bit complicated here. Not 100% sure how to proceed. But at any point, I felt pretty confident about my winning chances still, even if he did play g6. I forgot what exactly I calculated, though. He plays king f8, though, and now I play f4 anyways. And what does he even do? If he played a move like knight d7, my plan was to go queen d5, attacking f7, and let's say he goes king e7, I'm going to go bishop c4, and it's really hard for him to defend f8. If he goes rook f8 here, I'm going to go rook h8, and if he takes, this is checkmate. And if he doesn't take, let's say he plays a move like c6, for example. Not 100% sure what to do here. I could consider just queen e4 check, and he has to give up a piece. So, because there's no escape for the king, so he has to just block and give up a piece here. So let's say like knight e4. I'm going to trade a rook first, and then take on e5, and life is very good for me. So I think that's probably what I would have done. So, and of course, he cannot go c6 because of the pawn hanging with check. So knight on d7 blocks the queen's defense of the d6 square. If he goes knight g6, I cannot do the same plan of queen d5 and bishop c4 because of c6, and that's really annoying. So that's why after... and if he goes knight c6, I still probably go bishop c4 and queen d5 to attack f7. Because of course, if he does try to defend it, then he blunders checkmate. So he can never defend the f7 pawn vertically with the rook or the queen. So anyways, that all being said, it's a very good position for me. He plays knight g6, and I decided to play the immediate f5. I did consider a move like bishop h5. And I just wasn't convinced this was the best way to proceed, because if it goes king g8, attacking my rook, I can definitely double his pawns. And I did not think this was bad for me. Like, I can even go like queen check, king f8, and check, and here. This is not bad for me, but I'm like, is this really all I have? And like, I don't even have to go queen check first, but like, is this really the best I have? There's got to be something better here. So I decided to play f5 because if he goes back towards the center, I could consider going f4. And if he goes back to knight c6, I could go bishop c4, and we'll go queen d5 and attack f7 once again. And so he cannot go knight here or knight here for reasons I already talked about. And I felt pretty good about my position. But what happens if he goes knight h4 though? The knight is guarded by both the bishop and the queen, but I already saw that after rook h8 check, the king has to block the queen's defense of the knight, and now I'm simply up 2 pieces for the rook. I got both his bishops for the rook, or both minor pieces for the rook, and I'm just absolutely winning here. He plays king d7 here, attacking the rook. I played rook h7 pretty quickly, but after I played rook h7, I was like, wait, oh my goodness, I could have played bishop g5 because if f6, then my bishop can return back, and he has no play in this game, and I'm very happy here. But I realized that actually he can play rook e2, and And if I take his queen, he takes my queen, and I take, and he takes, and we have it's equal material, believe it or not. And I realized that was bad. And of course, if I take, then take, and then take, and it's worse. I just lose a rook, which is bad news bears. So I realized I'm very grateful that I didn't even calculate bishop g5 because it would have been a waste of time. But rook h7, perfectly good move here on the second rank, x-raying the king. He plays queen f6, guarding g7, and attacking f5. And I just play bishop g4 here. Apparently, another way to defend it was queen d5. I say apparently because just because I have to say, yeah, it's just another way to defend it. Just another way to defend f5. It also has b7. I guess for me, I just didn't see the point of it after c6. I guess maybe the queen can rotate back to g2, attacking g7, and if queen takes, then bishop g4, pinning the queen to the king. So maybe queen d5 was better. But I played more simply and just played bishop g4 with the idea that bishop d4 or bishop g5 is coming next. I'm going to push his pawn through and get it to g7 and hopefully make a new queen if he allows me to. He plays rook h8, and I just simply play bishop d4. My original plan was to play queen bishop g5, but I didn't. It gave him the option of queen e5. I definitely still winning here, but why am I giving him that option? When if I play bishop d4, he still doesn't have any options this way because it's completely covered. And now his queen has to go to d8 or e7, and both are bad. And he could sacrifice his queen for two pieces. For example, rook takes, bishop takes, and if he goes rook check, my kings can't go anywhere. My king can't go anywhere, but I can block with a bishop, very crucially. And here I have a queen and a bishop for two rooks, which is winning enough for me. I can even go queen d5 here, forking the two pawns here, and the king is just naked in the center. This is bad news bears. No one wants this. And I can go king d2 and king e3 next, or king e2 and move my bishop next. It's all good. I'm also attacking the rook on the h1 as well. Just a little bit of a bonus. But in this position, he makes his final blunder, which is queen e7, because of f6 check. I don't blame him for making that move because his position is already lost, and like queen d8 would have put up the most resistance, most likely after rook takes, queen takes, f6 check. Let's say the king goes, I don't even know, king c6. It looks like you're getting checkmated, but maybe you're not. I can, at the very least, take on g7, hitting the queen. And life is pretty good here. After queen check, I could consider queen d1. And let's say you go, I don't even know where you go. Where do you go? You go queen h6 check, king b1 maybe. And yeah, I mean, white's going to win this game eventually. It's just going to take more work. So it was most trying attempt, but he did not do that. And I won the game. So I really do think he gave me way too easy of a time by taking on f3 and taking on h4. I did not play anything fancy. I did not do anything hard. I just played moves that attacked him, and that was it. And that's the power of sacrificing a pawn. So I'm going to hit the game review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.